Deputy Marks with the Division of Tribal Affairs at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words about Mike. I first met Mike back in 1989 when I started working for the Indian Health Service in the Office of Planning, Evaluation, and Legislation. Michael was the Legislative Affairs Director, but he served a large role at Indian Health Service. He had the lead on nearly all major policy and legislative issues for the agency. And Mike was a natural leader. We all looked up to him. We looked up to him for his guidance with what he had to say, and in most instances, we agreed with him. He was quite the charmer with his smile, his sense of humor, and with making you feel like you were his best friend. Mike had lots of friends, and I know all of you have special memories and stories to tell about Mike. Mike is so deserved of the Jake Whitecrow Award for Lifetime Achievement. If he were here tonight to accept the award, he would be cracking jokes and making us laugh. God bless you, Michael, and God bless you, Eve, for supporting Mike in his work and in all of his accomplishments on behalf of Indian country. Thank you.
I want to say congratulations to Mike Mahsetky for being selected as the 2020 Jake Whitecrow Award winner. I want to also thank his wife Eve, who stood alongside him and helped at every step along the journey. What can you say about a lifetime of accomplishments in 30 to 60 seconds? If you read his obituary or were a lifelong friend, then you know the numerous impacts he made and the many lives that he touched over the years. I can't tell you much in the short time I was given, but let me try to conjure up a picture of Michael with words that come to mind when I think of him. Things like talented, experienced, energetic, driven, hardworking, dependable, warrior, smart, attorney, legislative genius, flexible, charismatic, funny, honest, and most of all, a friend. Michael could brighten the mood of a room just by walking in and smiling. I relied on him much during my time as Director of Indian Health Service, and I know that was the same with anyone who has ever needed him in all the roles that he played throughout his life. I hate that he isn't here today in person to accept this award, and the day that I heard he walked on from this world, my heart hurt for days. If he were here, I would thank him for what he did for me personally in the short number of years that we worked side by side, and for what he did for all of Indian country. I'd reminisce with him of the battles hard fought, often over many years, that ultimately had positive impacts on millions of American Indians and Alaskan Native lives, one example of which is the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act. What's always a little sad is that most of these people will never heard of Mike Mahsetky and realize the impact of his life's work on their life. But that's the way it is with heroes. Their work often goes unsung. Michael would say, "We didn't do this for the recognition. We did it to make our people's lives better and to give them more opportunities for the future, and because it was the right thing to do." But I want to thank NIHB for recognizing the impact that Michael Mahsetky had on the health of First Americans. Thank you, Michael, my friend, for all you did for all of us.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Harjo, and I'm very happy to provide a few words in honor of Michael Mahsetky. I can't think of a more fitting award for him or deserving recipient for this award. We spent many long years working on the reauthorization of the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act and other health initiatives. In fact, we worked together during most of my 16-year career at the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, where I was the Deputy Chief Counsel and he was a Congressional Director at IHS. Often he had to navigate sometimes treacherous political waters and persevere through many difficulties, even those personal and painful. Working in Indian affairs, as you know, can be one of the toughest jobs around. But through all of this, Michael never tired of fighting for Indian people and improving their health care. With the heart of a true warrior, he never gave up. He approached these critical tasks with a vibrant attitude, energy, and unending laughter. A warm and generous soul, Michael seemed to make friends wherever he went. So it hurt to say goodbye, but I know we're all left with a lifetime of memories and laughter. When I think of Michael, I'm reminded of a quote by Yeats. Think where man's glory most begins and ends, and say, my glory was I had such friends. Thank you to the NIHB for giving Michael this award. And Michael, we miss and love you. Thank you.
My name is Patricia Zell, and it was my honor to work with Jake Whitecrow for many, many years and with Michael Mahsetky for more than a decade. As you may know, both were from Indian country in Oklahoma, and both became national advocates for reservation-based and urban-based Indian healthcare systems, both of which ultimately became part of the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act. I think it is so fitting that they both be honored today together.
Hello, I'm Ed Fox, the director of the Tribal Data Project at the National Indian Health Board. I join everyone else today in this tribute to Mike Mahsetky. I get the pleasure of working closely with Mike for 10 years, from 1995 to 2005. Mike showed me the ropes in those early years of working on Capitol Hill. He continued to work with me on the Indian Health Service budget, on the reauthorization of the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act, and many other legislative issues. As everyone else, I'm sure, has said, Mike was highly intelligent, unbelievably hardworking, but somehow made it fun, somehow made it look like it was easy to keep going. So I want to thank his family for the sacrifices they made to give us the time from Mike. And I can say that from tribal leaders like Pearl Capone Ballard and Julia Davis from the Northwest Portland Area Indian Health Board and all the tribes of the Northwest. We appreciated Mike, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to give this thank you to the family of Mike Mahsetky. Mike, we miss you.
Good afternoon. This is Mike Trujillo, a former director of the Indian Health Service, and I had the great opportunity of working directly with Mike Mahsetky for all my years that I was there, for 2 terms and a little bit afterwards. And I would like to just say a few words about him. I really respected his input all the time. He and I would often joke about various things. And of course, I always heard his boots coming down the hallway. He always wore cowboy boots. And I always used to ask him if he left his horse out there, because being a Comanche, he was supposed to be an excellent horseman. He said he didn't have one. But the other thing I really liked about him, that he was not only versed in his legislative abilities, but also he was very resourceful to be outside the Indian Health Service and even the department. He was an actor, and he did so many other things that he brought all that expertise and knowledge and confidence to the table. He was always honest with me, and I really think that he always handled even very tough situations that were most difficult with poise, understanding, and especially honesty. He always encouraged others to do their best in his office and in other places. I view that time with Mike in the office for those at least 8, 9 years plus as a very memorable and wonderful, as well as a respectful relationship. Mike was truly an individual that I will always remember and think of him highly for all that he had done for so many people, the tribes, and other things. I remember when the new administration, which was the Bush administration, came in when I was during my last term, and an edict came down from the White House saying that we really couldn't communicate with tribes and couldn't share information or budgets or things like that that we used to do. But somehow or other, as we talked about it a little bit later on before the appropriations hearings, etc., it always seemed that the tribes seemed to have information about our proposed budget. I guess it was those darn Comanche smoke signals that used to emanate from the Park Lawn building that periodically. And somehow people on the staffers on both committees always seemed to ask the questions that we wanted them to ask. I don't know how that was, but I suspect those smoke signals got down there too. Mike was great. I missed him and will miss him tremendously. Thank you.
Good evening, Eve and Michael Mahsetky's family, tribal officials, National Indian Health Board, and health advocates. I am honored to make this video in honor of Michael Mahsetky because I loved and respected him. He was a hard worker and totally committed to improving Indian health care. Many times at the end of day in California, I would call him because I knew he would be in his office and he would pick up the phone, and I would scold him and I would say, "Michael, why are you still at the office?" And he would say, "So I could take your call, Rachel." We would visit, catch up with our business, and often just visit about things in general. But because of that, I knew he was conflicted and stressed. He wanted to go home to Oklahoma, and he knew that Eve wanted to go as well. But we had unfinished business, the reauthorization of the Indian Health Care Improvement Act, which took us 10 long years, 8 of the Bush years, when they tried to continually delete our recommendations for improvement and roll back current authorities. However, we were able to secure permanent reauthorization. I loved my associate, friend, and colleague. And I know that he had a brilliant mind. Anybody that could have his quick wit and come back with a quip in any circumstances had to be able to have a brilliant, quick mind. I miss him, but I am happy that he is able to share his humor with his daughter and the other angels in heaven. Thank you.